Former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger goes off on the Pittsburgh Steelers, saying they're not built for anything right now. So, the Steelers' offense has not been good, and Big Ben has been the latest critic of them. And he's been very critical of the Steelers organization lately. He was rather blunt when speaking about the offense on the recent episode of his Footballin' podcast. He thinks the unit has a long way to go until becoming an elite group. Here's his quote. You have one receiver. You've got a really good tight end. You've got a couple of running backs that are by committee. You've got a bunch of young linemen. The Steelers' offense is not built for anything right now. Just being honest. End quote. But before I get more into his other quotes, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, Roethlisberger thinks there has to be more invested into the offense. The defense has the highest paid unit in recent years in the entire NFL. Not just on the team's salary based off offense and defense, but in the entire NFL. So, during the 5-game losing streak to the end of the 2024 season, the Steelers allowed 27.4 points per game and 157.4 rushing yards per game. That's why Roethlisberger thinks it's time to pay some players on the offensive side of the ball instead of the defensive ones. Because if you're paying all that money to the defense players and late towards the end of the season they can't get the job done, then why not just spend on your offense? Because obviously the defense can't do anything anyway. So here's his quote about that. I know we have the highest paid D lineman, the highest paid linebacker, the highest paid safety in the league. And I'm not saying that those guys aren't deserving, but that ends up taking a toll on your team when you can't pay other guys that much money. End quote. So let's look at what Big Ben is saying, because basically everything he's saying is facts. And it's true, because you look at the Steelers' defense, and they have basically the highest paid defensive edge duo in TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, with TJ Watt being one of the highest paid at his position. And then you look at the defensive lineman in Cameron Heyward, he's been paid a lot. And then inside linebacker, Patrick Queen, one of the highest paid for his position. Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of the highest paid for his position. But then outside of those guys, looking at the rest of their defense and just their entire offense, who are the Steelers really paying? No one. And when you're not filling out your team with other good players and you're just paying 4 top guys, top of the tier money for their position, that just doesn't bode well for your team kind of whole group. Yes, you can have 4 really good guys, but how about the other 6, 7 guys who are on the field? So, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need to get better at that, and specifically the offense. The Steelers weren't paying a quarterback last season top tier money. They're paying Russell Wilson, like $1 million, and they paid Justin Fields, however much he was making, which was not a lot. So, you would think they would have enough money, or they would spend on wide receivers. But their wide receiver, the top person on their team, was George Pickens, and he's on a rookie contract. The next guy, you would think they would be able to spend some money at the receiver position, but the last few years, they just haven't. That other year was Allen Robinson as the second receiver. And then now, this season, you looked at who was the second receiver for the Steelers. It was guys who you wouldn't expect to be the number 2 receiver on the team. You look at Van Jefferson. He was basically the number 2 receiver the entire year. Would you expect him to be the number 2 receiver? No. You expect them to pay someone else to actually be the number 2 receiver. But that's not what they did. He went from being a number 5 receiver to being on the Steelers to being a number 2 receiver. And then you also look at Calvin Austin. He's probably going to be a slot receiver. He shouldn't be your second best receiver on the team, in which he was. He had a lot of growth. I'm not saying he didn't. He's a really good receiver for his size, everything like that. But looking at a playoff team, is he planning on being your second best receiver? Probably not. So the Steelers, they weren't spending money on the offense. They weren't paying a quarterback, so you think they would spend other portions of their money on to build this team around a quarterback that's on a lower tier contract, but they just didn't do that. The offensive line, they have 2 guys on rookie contracts. Actually, more than 2 guys. They have their center on a rookie contract. They had their right guard on a rookie contract. They had a right tackle on a rookie contract, left tackle, a backup on a rookie contract. The only guys they were paying were basically Isaac Seumalo and James Daniels. You're looking at the tight end position. He's not being paid top of the tier money for his position. I believe it's outside the top 5. So you would think that other portions of the team would be able to be paid money because the offense is not being paid a high amount, but that's not how the Steelers are doing business. They're one of the highest paid the highest paid defense in the entire NFL, and their offense is basically the lowest paid offense in the entire year and in the entire NFL. So you're looking at what the Steelers do, and it's complete reverse of what today's day and age is. A high flying offense and have your defense be able to make plays at certain times. But the Steelers are doing it in the opposite way. They're trying to win based off their defense, and that just hasn't worked. When looking at the last few years, or for many years now, the Steelers' defense just collapses at the end of the year. They're all worn out because their offense can't do anything, and the offense can't score, and eventually another top-tier offense like the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to get the job done. It doesn't matter who's on the defense side of the ball. They're going to pick on the people, there are mismatches that are on the field, and get the job done. And it doesn't matter who, if you have 4 highest paid defensive players, they're going to pick on the other guys that are there and score the ball. And can the offense match it? No, they can't. So that's where Big Ben is right. You want to build this team balanced, not just have one better than the other and have to rely on a certain position group. You want everyone to be on balance, and the offense helps the defense helps the offense, and the special teams helps both those categories. So you want that to be the flow of this team. But that's just not how it's been. That's not how the Steelers are doing business. And when you look at the Steelers running back group too, they weren't even paying a running back top tier money. It's another players on rookie contracts and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. So like, who are they paying on offense? They're really not paying anyone when you really think about it. And that's actually kind of crazy. There's not one guy on the offense side of the ball where they're paying top of the tier money. The highest paid guy might be Pat Freiermuth or one of James Daniels or Isaac Seumalo. Other than that, they weren't paying really anyone. And no one was making over like $20 million, over $15 million per season. At some point, the Steelers are going to have to switch their formula. Am I expecting them to change their formula this season? No, they're probably going to bring back the exact same guys and basically run it back for another season in a row and expect a different result. Mike Tomlin has always said that you can't do that. You can't just run it back and expect different results, but it seems like that's what the Steelers have been doing for a long time now. And Big Ben is completely right in this decision. I mean, it is kind of criticism of the Steelers, saying they're not built for anything right now. Unless they switch their offense and they bring in another receiver, they bring in a top tier position for running back or whatever it is, spend some money on the offense and surround your quarterback with great talent, then it's not going to work out. When looking at some of the best teams in the NFL, like the Eagles who just won the Super Bowl, you look at A.J. Brown, a top tier paid wide receiver. Devontae Smith, another high top tier paid receiver. You look at their running back, Saquon Barkley, one of the highest paid for his position. You look at right tackle, Lane Johnson, one of the highest paid for his position. The Eagles are spending money on their offense. And they're having other guys, like younger guys, on the defense of the ball who are on rookie contracts. But the Steelers are opposite. The Steelers are having rookie contracts on offense and paying their defense. But the Eagles got it done by paying their offense and rookie contracts on their defense. So it's a complete opposite turn of events, and the Steelers need to do better. And do I expect them to switch it up this season? Probably not, because they can't just cut everyone they already have. They already paid them for years down the road. So expect this for another 2+ seasons until their contracts are over, or until they decide to just do different and be better in terms of spending money and actually trying to win football games. But until then, they're not built for anything because their offense can't withstand any points to put up against other teams that are high scoring, and their defense just can't get it done and always collapses, even though they're supposed to be a really good defense. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about this topic. Do you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to change their formula and start spending on offense instead of spending on a defense that always ends up collapsing late towards the year and doesn't show out for what they're being paid? Or do you want them to stick to what they're doing and just keep playing the football how they've been playing? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this topic. And also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, reports. Everything surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers offseason, I'm covering it, so make sure you stay tuned, just like I covered all the regular season. Free agency starting soon, the draft is starting soon, and this is a place for you. So subscribe, turn notifications, and until next time, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.